name is Bob Froehlich. I am been a structural engineer, or working as a structural engineer for 25 years. Actually got my degree in architecture. That's where I started. And architects kind of drove me crazy. And I'm much more technical and math focused. So got a job working for a company that manufactures roof and floor systems, like those trusses that you see outside there. And through that experience, got hired by an engineering firm, and I've been doing it ever since. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what does like a typical day at work look like for you?
So a typical day for me, it's construction. Like, we support the construction industry, so we tend to start fairly early. We typically work from 7 in the morning until around 5, 6, depending on how much workload we have. But it's a desk job. I'm pretty much here all the time. And we're a small company here, so we do kind of everything. I don't even have an administrative person. So I do my own contracts, we do our own billing, and a lot of those kind of things too. So I kind of break my day up into who do I have to help in the field, what design work am I doing, because that's what we actually get paid for, and then the back of how does the business run, right? All of those kind of things too. And then occasionally we do have to go out into the field to look at construction sites and make sure they're building everything properly, and a lot of meetings with clients. So a lot of the projects that we do are I'll do 3- and 4-story hotel buildings, and it'll take us, sometimes those projects will take as much as 3 months to design. Now, you're not working on it entirely for 3 months, but you are, over periods of time, you work on those. So lots of meetings with clients to make sure we're doing things the way they want, that we're meeting the code requirements, and a lot of our focus is how do we build these buildings as efficiently from a cost standpoint as we can.
Okay. So how many hours do you typically work in a week?
So our typical week, it varies. Okay. So when we're really busy, I can work as much as 60 or 70 hours, or sometimes it's only 30, but I do track all of that, and my average is usually like 45 to 50. So that's about a normal week for us.
So is there like a range of salaries that someone in a position similar to yours would make?
Sure. So somebody starting out is probably in the 50 to 70,000 range, like with a degree coming out of college. For somebody like us who's been doing this for 20 plus years, it'll go as low as say 100,000 to up as high as 250,000 a year.
Wow. So what do you think is like the best and worst part of your job?
The best part of my job, I actually like the design work. I like actually designing the buildings and going through that process. But the cool part is being able to walk these buildings after they're done. So like some of the stuff that we'll work on is really crazy multi-million-dollar homes, $10, $15 million houses. So going to walk through those after the fact, because I'll probably never move into one, that's fun to do because you can look at it and say, okay, yeah, I figured all this out. So it's very rewarding on that end.
That is pretty cool. So do you have like the worst or like hardest part, or is it all just like pretty good to you?
The worst part is probably people don't follow our drawings. So, 10 seconds of background here. The architect will design the building, we'll do all the engineering for the building, and we put together drawings for that. And a lot of times the guys in the field, the contractors, don't follow our drawings. So I have to go in and fix things for them. So that can be very frustrating. As far as something that's hard, nothing's really hard other than sometimes on the business side, trying to get paid and contracts signed and that kind of stuff. But
okay. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest like misconception of your job?
The biggest misconception, I think, is people think if I design a house, right, and there's a drywall crack or something moves a little bit, that their house is unsafe, right? And that's really not the case. Like, most buildings are designed out of wood, the stuff that we do. So those are trees. It's a natural material. The reality of what we do is life safety. So if there's an earthquake or a really severe windstorm, my job is to make sure you and your family get out of your house, that it stays safe. So we call it a life safety concern. Now, the house may not be livable after that earthquake, but you and your family are still alive. That's really what an engineer does.
Okay. So you clearly work in an office, but is working from home like an option for
It is,
field?
Completely, yeah. So I'm sure this has come up as you've talked to different people, what has happened over the last few years with COVID. Again, because we're a small company, we kept working. We never stopped. We shut the doors. We kept ourselves isolated, but we always came to work. But the nice thing is everything you see in terms of the computer setup, I have at home also. So I prefer to come to the office, but I have the option if I need to. I can work from home as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you mentioned that you go to different like job sites. Are those all like local, or do you travel like all over?
So most of it is local. Probably 90% of it is local, but we do have projects. I've got some projects up in northern Utah right now. I've got a couple in Southern California. So occasionally there'll be some travel, but very little for our company.
Okay. So do you think that your job has any like unique like perks or benefits, or do you think it's all just standard?
The profession itself is fairly standard for us in this company. Again, because we're small, we have a lot of autonomy, right? So like I said before, if we're really busy, we work a lot. If we're not real busy, we take time off. So we have a lot of control over our schedule, which is nice with family and everything else.
Okay. So kind of like just to wrap it up, what would you tell like a high school student that wanted to like become like do your job?
To do my job, number one, be good at math.
Okay.
If you want to be an engineer, definitely be good at math, study your math. And then also communication. Like it applies to so many different professions, but like in my world, I have a set of drawings that has to communicate everything that I've designed. You have to make sure that's clear, and then any written communications, verbal communications, all of that is really clear.
Well, like what type of math do you typically use? Like what classes would you say are the most important?
So to get an engineering degree, you're going to go all the way through through calculus at least, which is kind of the standard now anyways for colleges. But we use math every day. I use geometry, trigonometry, physics, and calculus almost daily as part of our job. Now we've automated a lot of that to make our life easy, but we use it every day.
That's pretty cool. So, do you have any like final comments or anything else you'd like to add about your job?
No, just it's been a great career, and I think if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably still be sitting here. So that's a good thing. It's nice to be 50 years old and still like your job. So yeah, that's about it.
Well, that's pretty cool. Thank you so much.
Of course.